Welcome to You and Your Money. Today's episode features Lawrence Hale, Principal Managing Partner and Chief Investment Officer at WHZ Strategic Wealth Advisors.
All right, let's dig into the big, beautiful bill. Start with the big picture breakdown for us. What's going on?
Well, this is probably the most significant legislation we've seen in a number of years, and the bill was signed to law back on July 4th and took effect immediately, which is a little bit unusual, as most bills phase in gradually. So this one definitely hit the ground running.
So what are the changes that we should know about and be ready for?
Well, there's really three main buckets here. First are tax changes, both good news and some complications. Second, significant cuts to social programs. And third, major shifts in how we approach energy and healthcare policy. So let me start with taxes that affect nearly everyone.
All right, so taxes, what's changing there?
Well, the bill permanently makes permanent the Tax Cut and Jobs Act of 2017 provisions. So those were set in place a number of years ago, and they were going to expire at the end of this year. So they're now permanent. And for most Connecticut families, that means keeping the higher standard deduction and lower tax rates. But there's something interesting that local listeners will be happy about, and they raised the state and local tax deduction cap, or SALT, from $10,000 to $40,000.
All right, so that's significant, especially here in Connecticut. Our property taxes can be a little high, right?
I got my property tax bill. They can be high.
Yeah.
It's a great state to live in, but taxes are higher here. So Connecticut homeowners have been hit hard by that $10,000 cap. So if you're paying between $15,000 and $20,000 in property taxes right now, you can deduct much more of that from your federal income. So, for example, a family of in a 24% tax bracket paying $25,000 in state and local taxes, this could save them about $3,600 annually compared to the old cap. There are some caveats, so it's something you want to take a look at depending on your income.
What's the catch here?
Well, that's the $1 trillion question, literally.
Yeah.
The deficit impact is real, and it could mean higher interest rates down the road. When government borrows more, it competes with private borrowers, and that's business wanting to expand and families wanting to buy homes or cars. So higher rates make everything more expensive to finance.
Talk about changes to tip income and overtime pay.
Yeah, Gary. So through 2028, so it does expire in 2028, workers can deduct up to $25,000 in tip in income and $12,500 in overtime pay from their federal taxes, subject to income limits. Again, there are income limits for that. So for restaurant workers, hairdressers, and other service industry individuals, this could add up to some substantial savings.
All right. And let's talk about the other side of the coin, too, for some families as well as seniors, specifically the impacts to social programs. The bill will have negative effects for millions of Americans, right?
Yeah, and this is where things get a little bit more challenging, Gary. The bill imposes work requirements on some Medicaid recipients and allows states to charge low-income enrollees up to $35 per healthcare service. The Congressional Budget Office estimates about 12 million Americans could lose Medicaid coverage over the next decade.
And what about changes to student loans?
Right. The bill eliminates the current income-driven repayment plans, including the SAVE plan that many borrowers have found helpful. And the new repayment assistance plan could increase payments significantly, and with one analysis suggesting that the typical college graduates may pay nearly $3,000 more per year.
All right, let's talk about energy policies. What's happening there?
Yeah, and there's major changes here, too. The bill eliminates most of the clean energy tax credits from the Inflation Reduction Act. So no more tax credits on things like electric vehicles, solar installations, or energy efficient home improvements after September. However, it does provide some benefits for traditional energy and manufacturing, including immediate tax deductions for new manufacturing facilities.
All right, so what should our listeners be thinking about right now? What actions should we consider now?
Well, that's a great question. And first, if you were planning to buy an electric vehicle, do so before September to capture that $7,500 credit. That's an immediate thing if that was something you were going to be doing anyway. Second, if you're a Connecticut homeowner, review your state and local tax situation with your tax advisor. You may benefit significantly from the higher deduction cap.
What else should people consider from the personal financial planning perspective?
Well, it depends a lot on your income and your assets. The benefits of this bill are really skewed towards higher income earners. According to analysis from the Tax Foundation, middle income families earning between $53,000 and $96,000 might see about $1,400 more in annual income. But families earning less than $18,000 could actually see their after-tax income decrease by about $165 due to some of the safety net cuts. Even for our clients in higher income brackets, it's something we're watching closely with. The tax benefits are definitely meaningful, but we're also seeing increased demand for advice on healthcare planning and emergency funds as people recognize that the safety programs are changing.
All right, so let's continue to talk about practical steps we can take. What should different groups of people be doing right now? Lay it out.
For families with significant state and local taxes, that's many of Connecticut residents, schedule a tax planning session now with your tax advisor. You might want to adjust your withholding or estimated payments to capture the benefits of that higher deduction cap. Retirees in particular, be careful about healthcare planning. If you're on Medicare, you're generally okay. But if you have adult children who may be affected by the Medicare changes, that could impact your family financial planning. So, also the changes with the energy tax credits could affect your decisions around home improvements.
What about working families?
Working families should review their benefits carefully. If you're receiving SNAP benefits or have Medicaid coverage, understand what's changing and when. Build up an emergency saving if possible. And if you're a tip professional, track your income carefully. You could see some pretty substantial savings.
And what about our beloved local business owners?
Well, and that's an area that has some pretty significant benefits here. This is actually quite favorable for business owners. The 20% deduction on pass-through income is now made permanent in this bill. And there are enhanced benefits for manufacturing and research and development. And if you're considering expanding or investing in equipment, the timing could be pretty advantageous.
Wow. That's a lot. What are your final words of advice for everyone on this topic, Lawrence, before we wrap up here?
It is a big bill, so lots to cover. But the biggest concern is the uncertainty about the long-term impact. So adding $3 trillion to the deficit over 10 years is pretty substantial, and people are worried about future tax increases to pay for a lot of these current tax reductions, and about what higher interest rates could mean for mortgage rates and for business loans. So the key to focus on is what you can control. Use this as an opportunity to review your overall financial plan, consider how these changes could affect your tax situation, healthcare coverage, and long-term goals. And remember, while policy changes can be significant, sound financial planning principles, saving consistently, managing your debt, and investing for the long term remain really the best foundation for success. So remember that good financial planning is about the long term. And yes, these changes are significant, but they're one part of a larger financial picture. So stay informed, don't make emotional decisions. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by the complexity, that's exactly why you should seek some professional guidance.
For more information regarding wealth management and customized financial planning with WHZ Strategic Wealth Advisors, please visit WHZwealth.com. WHZ Strategic Wealth Advisors offer securities and advisory services through Commonwealth Financial Network, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor. Fixed insurance products and services offered through CES Insurance Agency. They practice at 697 Pomfret Street, Pomfret Center, Connecticut 06259, and 392A Marrow Road, Tolland, Connecticut 06084. They can be reached at 860-928-2341. WHZ Strategic Wealth Advisors do not provide legal or tax advice. The tenured financial services team strives to support clients in achieving their financial life goals while providing absolute confidence and unwavering partnership for life.